Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jesse, CEO and co-founder of Modtub. My brother and I created the best value cold plunge to make cold water therapy accessible to the masses. Along the way, we've been gathering amazing stories from professional athletes to everyday moms and dads. The Modcast exists for us to share those stories as another way to help you build a stronger, more resilient life. Welcome to the Modcast. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jesse. I'm co-founder and CEO of Modtub, and today I get the pleasure of talking with Ken. He's one of our customers, huge triathlon guy, so excited to learn more about him. Ken, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, your family, where you live, just some background.
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Jesse. My name's Kenny. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm a police officer for 19 years, father of two kids, got into endurance sports about 6, 7, 8 years ago. I'm not even sure anymore. Started with just like couch to 5K program and, just all the way up now. Do full Ironman events. I'm actually running a 50K ultra run this weekend out in Arizona. And just always looking for the edge and the new things and just how to be efficient with recovery, performance. And I'm also a coach now for the last 3 years. So just trying to get out there and experience as much as I can and pass it on to everybody that I'm helping.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Tell me more about being a police officer. You said 19 years. When did you move on from that? Kind of what was that experience like?
So I was pretty lucky. I got hired. I was actually the second youngest at the time, 21 years old. So count my blessings that I got hired, at such a young age to that profession. Was able to start early. Working right now, a special unit, kind of an elite unit, if you want to say. It's for, kind of like when the cops need help on the street, they don't know who to call. They call their 911 for the, and it's my unit that comes and solves any problem that they have. And that could be simple as rescuing an animal stuck somewhere or helping out with even more serious things like special weapons and tactics and things like that. And I'm now in a role where I help train those people in that unit. So I'm kind of responsible to make sure that their training is up to snuff and their mindset is right, and just making sure that they're in the game every day to make the right decision out there, not only for their safety, but the safety of the public and everybody else out there. So it's nice to have something else to do on the outside of that world. And that's kind of why endurance sports sucked me in a little bit. That whole goal setting and mindset of, charging forward in life, setting a goal and just like checking the next box. That's kind of like what gets me moving and going every day. So it's a good balance between both worlds. Pretty rewarding, and just happy that I can help people along the way on both sides of that.
Yeah, man. Well, I really, really appreciate your service as a police officer, then continuing in the training. I know that's, can be a tough job, I'm sure. So really appreciate that. And it's cool, kind of like you said, the transition of just that mentality has carried over into the endurance sports and triathlons. What was your first foray into that world? How did that come about?
Believe it or not, used to be more into lifting weights, like how heavy you can lift, Olympic weights, like 5x5 type programs where bench press, deadlift, squat, trying to get your number as high as you can. We had two young boys, about 18 months apart from each other, so life got a little crazy for a couple of years, and it was just one of those like the dad bod was kind of coming back and motivation was lacking, and I said, you know what? What's easier than just grabbing a pair of shoes and going outside? Like if you got 20 minutes, you can get something done. And that just plan after plan. Then, like I said, couch to 5K, started that program. Oh, you did that. What's next? 10K. What's next? Half marathon. What's next? And it's just that progression over the last, 8 years or so of kind of what's next, setting a goal, going after it. And it's just, not only a good change for myself, just mindset, family, like positivity, and just like, inspiring people around me, which is pretty awesome too. When people say like, I can't, what you're doing is inspiring me to get out there and go for a run or something like that, or change the way I look at what I can do it myself. That's kind of like the rewarding part of it.
Yeah, I think the interesting part of that is it sounds like you didn't get started till maybe a little bit later in life, right? What age was that you did your first 5K or kind of really got into it?
I'll be 41 in April, so I would think it was probably say it was 2017 or so. So it's about 34 years old, which in the grand scheme of things, you're not super young and agile, where somebody in their early 20s wants to get out there and do it. So I hadn't run in a long time, really, since like the police academy when I was 21, 22 years old, when it was kind of forced on you to do that type of stuff. So it's nice to just kind of show people too. And I'm in this for my coaching side of thing. My one of my philosophies is just longevity and sustainability, as far as like, you don't have to set some audacious goal for yourself right away, like this year. I train people that come on board, they want to do an Ironman or something like that within a year. But I always tell them, like, take the stairs, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Like, if you want to do this, like, I want to be still running marathons in my 50s and, close to 60, or as late as I can go. And a lot of them are still faster than me. I see them out there, blowing the doors off me still at these races. And that's pretty inspiring too, is just the, whole mentality of the sustainability and the longevity behind just health in general. So.
Yeah, it's good. I can relate that it seems overwhelming to kind of enter into that, but doing a 5K doesn't seem too hard, or going for a 20-mile bike ride or whatever it is. So I appreciate that. What is your favorite leg of the triathlon?
It's split between the bike and the run. I'm an adult taught swimmer. So when I started this whole journey, like, I had to teach myself how to swim at 34 years old, which is hard. So any buddy who's younger out there, even if you have no ambitions on even swimming, like in a race or anything, just learn how to swim properly at a young age, because it's definitely a skill. But I'm a kind of like a runner at heart. That's why I like doing these ultra marathons as well. There's nothing like you just need a pair of shoes and you can get it done. Like, there's nothing fancy about it. But I do thoroughly enjoy the biking, the long distance biking and things like that as well, especially when the weather gets a little nicer out.
Yeah, when man, it's probably been 10 years. So I was early 20s at the time. I signed up for a sprint triathlon, and fairly strong swimmer. Just grew up swimming a lot in my parents' pool and stuff. So I like way underestimated the swim, and it was an open water swim, and I was the last one out of the lake, getting passed by 70-year-olds swimming. So definitely agree that I like the run and the bike. Particularly biking is my favorite, but yeah, definitely relate to the swim being hard when you really get into competitive swimming later in life. What was the foray into cold plunging, or how does that play into the endurance world? Is that part of just the mindset or the physical benefits, or what got you into that?
So the whole part of different like recovery modalities that have hit the market, between like compression boots and Theraguns and all these other things out there, and how they can kind of like enhance your recovery. And of course, cold plunging came more to the spotlight in the last few years, especially. You started to hear about, like the big players in the game that were promoting it and stuff on like podcasts and all that. Then you get start trickle down your friends. You start hearing like, oh, I'm starting to do it and stuff like that. So you start reading up on it. So for me, it was one of those, training was amping up. I had bigger races coming up and just was looking for some type of edge to just feel better a little bit more for performance recovery. So I mean, naturally, you want to kind of like tiptoe in, because it's kind of like aggressive to just like jump all in and spend a lot of money. So you try like the little things first. You get the cheaper little blow up tubs and stuff. You're like, I'm gonna just try it for a little bit. So I went down that rabbit hole for a little bit, as far as like getting one of those like like little blow up tubs and stuff, and set it all up. And then you start adding things to it, like a filter and all this other stuff down the road, because you start to realize that it's a lot to take care of when it's just a pool of water. But it was fun to get into that. That helped, and kind of was able to just dip my toe into the world of cold plunging, filling it up and adding ice to it, get some friends over after a hard run and they all jump in it. And then you definitely start to notice the benefits of it, especially for me for performance. What I was looking for was not wasn't really looking to jump into something that was 40 degrees for a minute just for that, mental aspect of it. But it was more of, it's why my muscles to be a little less sore. I wanted to be ready for the next day's training. Also, you do want to do something that is, hard. You want to put yourself in these adverse situations, because it is a mental component to that, especially when you're out in a race and you are in that little bit of a hurt locker. Like, you have to learn to just, this will pass, this too shall pass, I'll get through this. So to be able to zen out and kind of like focus in the cold plunge for a little while, like getting that habit. It's again another habit. I'm a big habit guy. Something like, nope, it's on there. Got to do it every day. If it's on the calendar. And I just started noticing the benefits of it. Just that muscle soreness, the body felt better, the mind felt sharper afterwards. Um, Science, placebo effect or not, to me, something if it's gonna make you feel good or perform better, whether there's a specific scientific backing that you can back or not, to me that's becomes invaluable, especially if you're looking for performance on that side of it.
Yeah, I think kind of what you equated to getting into triathlons or any kind of distance training, that it's, you can ease into. You don't have to go, 35 degrees and 5 minutes from the very beginning. That's, we encourage people a lot to take some cold showers. I mean, get something cheaper that you put ice in. I mean, see the effect it has on you. And when you're ready to commit to something maybe a little easier to maintain or to make it a daily practice, Modtubs here, I think we have a good unit that we really love selling, but that same mentality of just ease into it, we totally buy into. So for the physical benefits, I know there's a lot of people who debate, and it really comes down to what kind of training you're doing, in my opinion, but of like before physical activity or after physical activity, what do you typically do, and what are your thoughts on that?
So me, I'm more of a, I mean, so I have a lot of friends that work that use them, and they're like as soon as they wake up in the morning, they're in it. It's just like part of their morning routine. For me, I train really early in the morning, so to add that extra time and things beforehand, for me, it's like again a little more performance recovery. So I find after I do a long training session or a long run on the weekends, specifically because that's my longer training session days, I'll come back, grab something to eat, start that recovery process for fueling, and then just it's mentally time to dip in for a little while and get in there. And again, depending on my goals for that time, what I want to use the plunge for will be how I try and get temperature range wise. But I'm not one of the like super cold people. I'm more of the let's make it cold enough to be able to sit in there for a little while and just really be able to veg out and let my muscles really, cool down and let all the circulation and let that recovery aspect of it kick in. And for me, so it'll be afterwards usually, besides today, because today's a rest day and I knew we were going to talk. So I was like, I'm getting up an hour early before we talk. I'm getting in it today, checking the box because, I just want to make sure I get that the mental edge and the feel good vibes for before we talk today.
Yeah, I cold plunge this morning too. So typically I'm in the mornings, um, post workout as well. So my typical is I'm usually upper mid to upper 40s for 3 to 5 minutes. I've stopped setting a timer, which I found kind of helpful. Of just kind of get in there till you feel good, then get out. What's your typical temperature and duration?
Once I get back into like if I have to take a break for a little while from it, ease back in anywhere between that 50 to 55 range starting getting into it. Obviously, when to anybody that's thinking about it, like, yeah, it's cold to start, like, but your body naturally adapts to things a little bit, like you handle hard a little bit better. And then, for me, it's like kind of like I treat it like training. So go find a temperature that you can tolerate, then build a little bit over a week or so, add a minute or so every other day, and then bring the temperature down a little bit. Start the process again. Go back in for just a minute or two. Get used to that range now, and then add a couple minutes to it. So for me, like performance wise, it's going to probably sit around that 48 to 50 degree range and like a 4 to 5 minute nice soak. Just let the body relax, calm down. But the one thing I do notice about this versus, the old way I was doing things is what I was expecting with having like, this is the first time with your setup and everything with having a chiller involved. It used to be all manual, putting ice in it and all that. But the thermal barrier is real, when you sit in a tub, but like your body, if you don't move, it'll eventually kind of regulate. You can sit in there for a long period of time. But when you keep the chiller on yours and it's just blowing straight out at you and rippling the water around, like you stay colder. You for sure feel it better. It's awesome to be able to break that thermal barrier and have the water still circulating around you as you're sitting in it. Because mine's indoors right now. I plan to put it outside, hopefully when the weather changes here. But be able to break that thermal barrier is like a game changer, is being able to feel a little bit cooler in there the whole time.
Yeah, I think most people when they think of cold plunging think of two variables. temperature and duration. And I understand those are the two easiest to change probably, but the thermal barrier, like how much you turn that jet up. I don't know if we have this little jet attachment you can add to the jet coming out to make it even stronger. And I'd rather do, I think 40 degrees with still water compared to 50 degrees with that jet hitting you. Uh, about the same in difficulty, if not the jet being a little more difficult. So I kind of consider that the third variable that people should really play with if they're looking for ways to mix it up or more challenges or just a way to keep it a constant battle so you never really get too comfortable in there. So that's a good word. What maybe going back to racing a little bit and giving it a try, how did giving it a try come about?
So that's actually a quick little fun story. Give it a try actually wound up being when I started doing my like couch to 5K thing. You typically want to start surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded that can support you. I'm big on just like community and like having strong people of the same mentality in your corner. I wound up being this just private Facebook group at the time where it was just a couple local friends that were doing the same thing. They were out there kind of just running, wanted to maybe get into triathlon and through friends and stuff. And so it wound up being like this group of 20 or so. We'd show up at local races. We kind of like just motivate each other, post what our goals were and all kinds of things like that. So that's where the name started because I was training for my first triathlon. So I was going to give it a try. And it's just like one of those like mentality things. I'm just going to give it a try. So then when I started, it progressed a few years later, through COVID and everything, I took like coaching certification classes because there was no racing that year. Because that was a big change in training that year for me. And then it was like, you know what, let me just carry this name over into the coaching that I want to do. So kind of, although the coaching aspect of things has only been a couple years old now, but the whole name of Give and Try since, we started with that small group is just something that stuck. And it's like the kind of reminds me of the beginnings of the journey and everything like that. So instead of like rebranding to something flashy, I'm like, let's just keep it and let's just keep going forward. So it's not just for triathlon. It's, the name, even though it's like swim, bike, run on it, but it's really whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether that's running your first race, whether it's just healthy lifestyle, just like, let's give it a try, let's get it done. And let's, you know, just whatever your health and wellness goals are. Like if sometimes you just need a little team in your corner. So now I have a good group of people I coach, good private community. And we're just, it's amazing who you can attract, with your mentality and the way you present yourself out there. The same like-minded people usually wind up attracting themselves towards that little group. And it's awesome. The things they accomplish are awesome.
Yeah, I love the name. I think it was the right call to stick with it because it's such a good name. And I probably overpronounced the G. It's giving it a try. I say give
There
it.
you
But anyways, what on the coaching side, what has been the most rewarding part? Is there a particular client story that was like super exciting to see them accomplish something, or what's been the most rewarding or fun part of that?
You know what it is? I think is like there's two type of people you coach. There's somebody who kind of tell me what to do and I'll do it. And then there's people that tell me what to do, but also want to learn along the way. I want to know why I have to do certain workouts and training and things like that. So when somebody comes on board and you're able to kind of guide them properly and they start to trust the process of why you're telling them to do things and they're super consistent, and when they come to you with a goal, whether it's a time goal, a finish goal, whatever it is, because I have people that are chasing cutoff times at races just to finish, and I have people that are trying to qualify for Boston, Ironman World Championships, like the whole spectrum. Like everybody's race is the same. It's you versus you and your goals. So when somebody, comes to you with a goal for the year and, they follow it and trust the process, and to see, that big day come that they've been preparing for and get it done and get it done to the goal that they had, just just that satisfaction of like, I not only did they invest in me as their coach, but I invested in them in their process and their goal. So to see them reach that finish line, whether it was again to make the cutoff at the race or they qualified for some type of championship event, like, and they're gonna, just see that accomplishment on race day is just, to me, that's the most rewarding part of it. And that's because everybody's journey is different, but when they hit the goal that they were shooting for, that delayed gratification type of thing that, that's all training is. Planning for something 10 months out, you trust in the whole process up to that day, they hit their goal. That's just an awesome feeling.
Yeah, man, you're inspiring me to get get into some racing. I did a half marathon a long time ago and have done a couple sprint triathlons, but definitely could get into it again. And inspiring at the age you got into it. I'm 32, so kind of right around when you first really got started. So
That's
that is
young. That's
motivating.
kind of young. So let's, people usually don't peak until they're like, almost like 40 years old or so. So you got plenty of time.
Really, people
Yeah.
don't peak in triathlons and these kind of
Depends on
endurance.
the distance. And the distances typically get longer, is the more, as the older the athlete, typically they can do a little bit better in those longer events, probably because of discipline and like mindset. You start to learn how to like pace yourself and slow down, trust the process, as opposed to when you're some of my younger athletes, they just want to grind every day and just hard, hard, hard. And it's like, that's kind of not how endurance sports built. Like you have to, it's all built in a fashion of, stressing the body recovery in a proper way, and gaining fitness. So, and not having setbacks, consistency. So as like older athletes, they learn that this game of consistency is where it's at. And knock on wood, I haven't. That's why I'm able to probably be in the position I'm in. Is for 7+ years or so, I haven't had any time off of training as far as like injury or setbacks or anything like that. Just because when minor things come up, you deal with them and move on. Like you don't, just understanding and cycling your training throughout the year. But knock on wood, so far so good. And that's just consistency over a long period of time. I'll net you the gains that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's great. So through this mentality that you forged through being a police officer, through endurance sports, through cold plunging, how have you seen that mentality bleed over into other areas? I mean, do you feel like that makes you a better father and husband? Has it helped you in your mental health? Has it helped you overcome some vices? Is there any encouragement you would have there of a way that has personally affected you, just having that disciplined mindset?
Me, I kind of like pride myself on, just, again, we all like, mental health is a big thing, especially with law enforcement. Unfortunately, you're more likely to die by suicide than in the line of duty. That's unfortunately the statistics that are out there. So, especially with that line of work, I try and push on people that there's got to be another world out there besides that career. Like when you're at work, yes, you got to be in the game and you have to be on point. But when you hang up the uniform at the end of the day and you go home, like you got to have another drive and another purpose. And I think that's why endurance sports again is so appealing to me, and why I can be so consistent with it. Because same thing at work, when we get a call or we have a task to do, there's no other option. You have to do it and you have to figure it out. There's no like, well, we figure this out tomorrow, or maybe we'll call somebody else. So you don't really have an option. So if I take that mentality, at least to these other things, even like now with cold plunging and you get on that habit, like if you continue that, of there's no other option, like this has to get done. So when things come up in your personal life now, stressors or things like that, or you get that phone call, you all have those days when like three different bad things happen in a row, and in the grand scheme of things, they're not the biggest problems in the world. You get a flat like yesterday, my wife, her bank account or card got like hacked or something like that. She got a flat tire while she was at work. It was just one of those days of just like, what's next, so for me, when those things happen, like, yeah, you shake your head real quick, but then you got to be like, all right, well, how are we going to solve this? Like, we can talk about something, we can kind of complain about something, but we got to solve it. Like, you got to come up with a solution after that, because you can't waste all of this mental bandwidth on the problem. It's natural to complain about something for a little bit. That's just, we're human beings. But then someone has to hit the timeout button and say, all right, well, how are we going to fix this? So that same thing, you could be upset you got injured during training or something like that. Yes, be upset over it, go through that whole process, but now timeout, how are we going to fix this? So I just think it all just carries over back and forth, and that's the mentality that I try and carry with everything. Is just not that I have to be the best at everything, just got to be the one that someone's going to look to and say, how are we going to fix this, and be that problem solver and that person that they can rely on when there's something going on, and we'll take care of it.
Man, so much to be said about grit and perseverance, and I think you summed that up so well. That the challenges of life don't have to derail you. You've got to be able to persevere through that and stay focused. And I think there's a lot of ways to grow your ability to persevere. And we hope cold plunging is one of those ways for people, but I think your training is one of those ways. I think your family helps you grow that, your community. So I really appreciate you sharing that. What as we're coming to an end, I really appreciate you sharing everything you did, Kenny. Is there anything else, any other encouragement or anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Um, it's just I guess a real like recap would just be, anybody out there that's thinking about something like or a goal in their life and they just think, hey, they don't have maybe the time, the energy, whatever it is, you just it's a cliche to say, but like you just got to start. I'm not one of these, well, let's start Monday, let's start January 1st. Like today. Like just do it. And you don't have to do it to the level that you want to be at one day. You just got to dip your toe in, whether that's going for a walk, jog, a run because you want to start moving your body, or if you want to get into cold plunging, you don't have to jump into what you see people doing at 39 degrees, breaking ice in the morning and things like that. Like you can start. And as long as you come up with a plan, a goal, I'm big into these like SMART goals and everything like that. Just like you got to have something specific, something measurable, something attainable, something realistic and time bound. If you take anything you want to do in life and map it out like that and plan it out, you can definitely accomplish a lot more than you think. And then the final thing with that is just surround yourself with people that are gonna, elevate you to where you want to go. And unfortunately, there's seasons of life with people. You gotta, people will come and go depending on your goals in life. I've had different groups of people help me through different parts of my life along the way. I would still answer the phone any day of the week to help them out. But you just gotta keep going through the waves of life and just bettering yourself as a person, a family member, and a coworker, and everything like that.
It's a great word. Thank you. Kind of the last thing I like to do with guests is I love running Modtub. It's so fun. I hope we sell a trillion cold plunges, but at the end of the day, we get to interact with a lot of cool people, hopefully get to be some encouragement or some part of their story. And I would love to ask, how can I pray for you? Is there something I can pray for? Give it a try for your family, for your personal goals, anything like that?
Biggest thing is just health. So, between the people I work with every day, make sure that they make the right decisions, stay healthy. Same thing, anybody I coach or train, just overall blanket of just, good health and well-being really will be, that'd be awesome.
All right, I'm going to say a quick prayer. Lord, thank you so much for letting me talk with Kenny. What an awesome guy, true testament of grit, and seems like you blessed him with a lot, with the family, with the platform to get to interact with a lot of people. So I pray for health for himself, for his clients, and for his family, and that he can be a source of encouragement. And in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Really great having you on, Kenny. Check out giving it a try. And I'm excited to follow along.
That's awesome, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me today.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks, Jesse.